times.
Surely some of them would be getting jealous and be like, hey, can you just not, right?
Of course.
I mean, we're personal friends as well, even outside of this podcast, and I see it.
Yes, of course. Of course.
So I know that that is there. So
it happens. It happens. But it's the way I look at it like this is I'm letting you know what I'm about and it becomes your choice. So it's like
with
this
these girls, when this jealousy does happen.
Alrighty, welcome back everyone to Sex with Kat and Mark. But otherwise, this week we're going to be talking about what it's like to date in the sex industry. So what it's like to date someone from the sex industry and what our dating lives actually look like. But before we get to that, Kat, the week that was, tell us about your morning.
Yeah, so I had a very interesting morning this morning. So anyone watching on YouTube, if I look a little bit flushed, it's because I am. I made my first lesbian porn this morning.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I got in today and Kat was like, that's such a busy morning. And I'm thinking like, okay, you had a lot of emails. You had to like do some errands. She's like, I did my first lesbian scene. And I was like, that's awesome. So I made sure you didn't tell me a fucking thing so I could find out about it on the podcast. So tell me everything. How was it?
Yeah, so it was interesting because it wasn't my first lesbian experience. Mm-hmm. So, okay, I use the word lesbian loosely. I mean, just girl on girl, I guess. But I don't know what you would call it. Would you call it lesbian or would you call that just girl on girl? So I'm not a lesbian. Yeah. But I was doing lesbian things.
Exactly.
What's that called? Is that just girl on girl?
It's a lesbian porn, but you can call it girl on girl.
Yeah, okay.
Makes more sense
So, yeah, girl on girl. So I've done girl on girl like at work, like in escorting a lot of the times. I've worked with like other girls. And yeah, like, I mean, I've hooked up with like girls and things before, like just kissing. When I say hook up, I mean like kissing. But yeah, no, I've had like, girl on girl experiences in an escort way, but never like to record it in like a porn way. Nice. So that was kind of really interesting because I mean, it was just, it's kind of different when you're doing it for a camera, I think, than when you're just doing it with another guy that's like in the room. I don't know. It was just, I feel like when there's another guy in the room, it kind of makes it easier because it's like, oh yeah, like he likes it. Like,
exactly. You're
he's
doing
enjoying
it for him in a way, right?
Whereas I was doing it technically doing it for guys, but I couldn't see them. So I was like, I'm just getting it on with a girl.
Yeah. Exactly.
In my bedroom. Like, it just, I don't know. Like, it was just a different experience, but it was a lot of fun. The girl that I worked with, she was really cool. So it was a fun experience. Yeah.
Nice.
That was my very interesting morning.
So are you attracted to girls?
No. Not in any way. And she actually is a lesbian, this girl, but she does an OnlyFans that is like, guys subscribe to it.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, are you straight? And I was like, I mean, I thought it was very obvious. And she's like, oh, no, it absolutely is so obvious.
Afterwards or before?
No, before. She just asked. She's like, are you into girls? Because so many people are, are bi-curious or bisexual. I don't know all of the technical terms, but I would say majority of people are kind of in that curiosity zone, or maybe
100%.
Maybe if you're not curious, you at least maybe might be attracted to like the opposite sex. Yeah. I even told her this. I was like, look, please do not get offended. I have no interest in girls. Because she actually did ask me. She's like, oh, what do you enjoy? I'm like, I'm sorry, I just have to come out right now. I enjoy dick. I don't want you to be offended that I'm not actually enjoying this. But I was hilarious. I was like, look, don't bother trying. I said it to her. I was like, don't even. And she's like, oh no, but I want you to have a good time. I was like, I'm just telling you now, I will not be having this
is work, all right?
I'm in work mode, and because I just not saying that she was like coming on to me, but I just didn't want her to feel like she had to like pleasure me, and I was like, I'm just telling you right now, it's not gonna work
because
you are missing one crucial body part that I really need.
Did she strap that crucial body part on?
Yeah, because so we had to do some scenes with the strap on. I was like, yeah, you're wearing the strap.
Yeah, okay, fair.
I mean, I did have to wear it a little bit.
Yeah.
But
they're hard to use, right?
Oh my, and especially when you're so little. Like
got this big.
I even said to her, I was like, I have a newfound respect for men. How do they maneuver this appendage that's just flinging around?
It's a tough life.
Especially when it's hard. It just flies everywhere. And I'm like,
it gets in the way.
I was trying to thrust and it was falling out here. It was hitting her here, hitting her in the face. And I'm like, it was going every which way except for the right way. And I was like, oh my God, how do you guys do this?
Exactly.
I was like, this is hard. And we were both sweating. Like, and I never really sweat. Like, it takes a lot for me to sweat. I think it's like a genetic thing. I don't really sweat much. We were sweating because I was like, oh my God. Like, when I was like, I make guys fucking work, man.
I'm so happy right now. This is a newfound appreciation for what men have to go through in life. Walking around with an appendage between their legs. I had to get here today on the train with this dick in between my legs. It's tough.
How do you even walk?
I know, it's tough. Listen, that's why sometimes I walk funny.
I even had this thought. I was like, let's just say I was at the gym and I felt like a hot girl and I got hard. I'd have to go home. Like, how would I function in society with a hard appendage flapping around every which way?
Can I tell you a funny story real quick? Now, thankfully, that doesn't really happen after puberty too much. You don't get these like no reason, just fucking boners. I guess maybe there's a hot girl at the gym. But I went through a phase where I was addicted to erotica. I was just reading erotica, listening to erotica. I loved it. So I'd be in the gym. And so my Audible was all erotica. So I'm sitting there just listening to the filthiest shit in the gym as I'm working out. I'm like, no one knows what the fuck is going on right now. But okay, so do you think this girl saw it as a little bit of a challenge when you said, I do not find girls attractive?
1000%, because she was going ham. And I was like, that's yo.
Awesome. She's like, I am going to convert this motherfucker. Because that's what I do. If I heard that there was a girl, like say it was the other way around, she's like, listen, I do not like dick. Right? Yeah. I am a lesbian. You cannot. I'd be like, challenge accepted, motherfucker. Lay down. Challenge accepted. So I feel for this girl. I see where she's coming from. But that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, no. And I'll just give her a little plug as well to anyone listening. Her handle, I think, is KATANA KAII. I'm sure if you look me up on Twitter, you'll be able to find her. Yeah,
we can pop it in the description.
Yeah, we can pop it in the description. She's hot AF. But yeah, no, 1000%. She was trying to convert. She was. Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. When she was going down on me,
I like her already.
You know what? Girls know how to go down on other girls. Because I swear to God, that was probably one of the best eating out sessions. That I've ever had.
Yeah, girls. Girls do, because you have that own internal experience. But I wouldn't say every girl. Because if you're just a straight girl, like if you were just to go down on a girl.
Good. I mean, like she was, I mean, it would have been a lot better if she was a dude.
No, I get what you're saying. No, but what I mean is.
Her technique was on point, man.
But what I mean is you need the experience. Some girls just think, oh, I'm a female, so I'm going to be good at going down with girls. No, you're not. I've seen it, right?
Okay.
But lesbian women, right?
Oh, well, yeah,
they know what's up.
Oh, I'm telling you, she puts guys to shame.
Oh, yeah, straight up. Because you have that own internal feedback and experience for yourself, but also they get a lot of experience with that, because every time they have sex, they're going down on someone. Whereas some get lazy, some don't like it. Lesbians, they know what's up. They give each other feedback. That's she knows what she's doing, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fucking fun morning, yo.
Yeah, so I'm in a good mood.
Yeah, okay. I like it.
What about you? What have you been up to? Please tell me at least one interesting thing has happened to you
I wish I could tell you an interesting thing. I've been looking for places in the city. I've been working nonstop.
Oh, so Mark is homeless?
I've been living on the street for the last week with a dick hanging between my legs. It's a tough life.
Oh my God.
It's a tough life.
That makes me really sad.
I know, it's tough.
I couldn't think of anything.
Thank you so much. So, I've had such a fucking uneventful week. I'm so sorry. I wish I had a crazy fuking sex story for you, but no, I don't.
Yeah,
been working and looking for a place. So you're gonna have to wait till next week. I'm so sorry. So sorry. All right. What do we got next?
So we've got our topics for the week, which is, let's start off with, I'm curious to know, how do you think it's impacted your date? Let's start with dating life first, maybe. Firstly, do you date much? And then when you do, what does that look like? Do girls get jealous? Like, tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because for me, it's been like this slow, eventful progression. So it doesn't feel like, okay, I went from point A, then I got in the sex industry point B, and it's like, okay, what the fuck does my dating life look like now? Like, I started this journey of having more, let's say, open style relationships and more casual relationships before I even started coaching, let's say. Like, I was already in that space, like sex parties, kink. So for me, it's my choice, it's my option. I actually like living that lifestyle. And me, in terms of dating, yes, sometimes you have to be very careful about the expectations you set. Because you never want to go into a dynamic with a girl. Let's say I meet someone on Tinder or in a club, whatever it might be. I don't want to have this false hope or perception that, yeah, I'm looking for a girlfriend tomorrow and I want to be exclusive. Because that's probably not what I want the dynamic to be set as. It probably is going to be something more open. So I'm very honest about that. Like from the very beginning, I'm very honest that, yes, I sleep with a lot of girls. Yes, there's other girls I'm seeing. Yes, I have or am in open relationships. I'm probably not going to be exclusive. I never rule anything out. The way I think about it is every single girl, there's going to be a certain dynamic that we have. So the same way that you might have with friends, right? You have acquaintances, you have people you're super close with, you have besties, you got your sisters. Like it depends on the person. So with me, I go into it with that view. At the beginning, of course, it's going to be very casual and we're going to grow and see what that looks like and then discuss and be very open about it. So that could be something like an open relationship where there could even be love. It could be very serious. They could come on holidays with me. They could even meet my family, things like that. But it's not exclusive. I'm still seeing other people. So yes, it comes with challenges sometimes.
Surely some of them would be getting jealous and be like, hey, can you just not, right?
Of course.
I mean, we're personal friends as well, even outside of this podcast, and I see it.
Yes, of course. Of course.
So I know that that is there. So
it happens. It happens. But it's the way I look at it like this is I'm letting you know what I'm about and it becomes your choice. So it's like
with
this
these girls, when this jealousy does happen, do you kind of just try to break it off? What tends to happen in these situations?
It's so specific to each situation.
Do they just still kind of hang around?
It's specific to each situation. Like ideally what I want to say is like, okay, this is the ride that I'm offering you, right? Like this is what's happening. This is what we're about. So it's your choice.
Yeah.
Now, jealousy is going to be a part of that. And it might even go both ways sometimes. Like I'm not a very jealous person at all, but it might go both ways. But jealousy is something that might happen. So yes, sometimes I'm going to be there to help you with it. So if you're like, oh my God, I'm becoming really close with you. I really care about you, but it's hard to think about you with other women, right? So we can chat about that. We can talk through that. But at the end of the day, if you can't deal with that and if it's too much for you and you desperately want an exclusive relationship and that's not what I'm wanting, that's okay. Like we can end that there. And I'm not, let's say, like forcing anyone into anything. Like this is what I'm about. I'm honest about it. If that's something you want, then amazing. Yes, it can be challenging. It can be something.
Do most of these girls, will they just voluntarily leave after a while?
I never had this double standard of you can't fuck other guys. Like you can 100%. Now, girls sometimes choose not to. They're just like, I'm not interested in anyone else, right?
It's a bit harder for girls, I think, to just do it. I'm kind of a little bit the same as well. Yeah. If I was seeing someone who was fucking other people, sometimes you just don't want.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And so I never make these rules that like, okay, I can fuck other girls, but you can't fuck other guys. No, if you want to, go for it.
It's there if they want to.
Yeah. So some girls will be very open and be like, yeah, I went on a date with this guy. Other girls will be like, I'm not seeing anyone. So it's completely up to them. So some girls that I see do, some girls that I see don't.
Do you prefer girls who are in the industry or not?
I don't.
Does it depend on the girl? Oh, you don't.
Yeah, I don't care. Like this is the way I see it.
Does it make it easier? Has it made it easier that you guys both are in the same field?
I think what makes it easier when girls are open-minded and willing to explore. So that doesn't mean they have to be in the industry. Now, typically, if they are, they're going to be open-minded. They're going to be more open to exploring kink, to having open relationships, things like that. And I find that people in the industry, their personality type is more outgoing, more fun, which is what I like. And so for that reason, I sometimes tend to prefer girls in the sex space because they have those personality traits. But if I meet a girl that's an accountant and has those personality traits or is into kink, like that's still very exciting and preferable and amazing for me. So, and on the flip side of that, Kat, is sometimes I don't like when the girl's in the space if it affects them in a negative way. So, for example, there's been girls that I've seen that might be topless waitresses, escorts, or things like this. And they love their job. It's amazing. It's great. And it's cool. But I've also been with girls that are in the space that don't cope with it very well or don't enjoy the experience or you know, it takes a little bit out of them, especially around sexuality. And in that case, no, I don't want them in the space, and I'd encourage them to get out of it if they're not coping with that, like I would with any job.
So you don't have a preference?
No, not at all. But like same thing. If there's a girl that is working as an engineer and hates her fucking job, that's the same view I'd have on it. It's like, well, don't fucking do it. Find something you like, right? So yeah, I don't have too much of a preference, let's say, but I do like the personality type.
Yeah.
But what about you? Do you prefer guys in that space, or like when it comes to date? Like, how does this work for you?
So I've dated one guy since being in the industry, old mate.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, we dated for like 3 months when I first started. He was a client that booked me for like a week.
Yep.
It was, I don't know if it was Stockholm syndrome. I mean, like we didn't.
That is hilarious. He kept me
leave.
in the room for a week.
We literally didn't leave his apartment for like a whole week. I mean, I guess you can kind of say like, because he was someone that not like you all. When I brought him to like meet you all, you were like, yo, I don't see how you two are in a relationship, and I don't know if it was.
No, I didn't say that actually.
Yeah,
everyone else said that.
Josh, sorry, beep that up.
Yeah, beep said.
So everybody else did.
I kind of
did say that.
I kind of liked the guy.
I did too.
Yeah, I thought you guys were suited at first. That was my first impression.
Look, I thought so too. I mean, the reason why we didn't work out had nothing to do with my job. So he was a client, so he already knew what was up, and he had seen a lot of escorts in the past, so he kind of knew what the industry was, and he knew it was different when you're doing it like for a work thing, and I instigated it with him. So I mean, anyone listening might think like, oh, like how did that even start? Like, did he just say, hey, I want to see you and not pay you? No, that's not how it.
Hey, can we see each other? But I lost my wallet.
Yeah, no, so that's not how it started. So he told me that it wasn't, oh, I'm booking you for a week. It was, oh, I'm booking you for a few hours. And then a few hours turned into a day. And then one day turned into 2 days, 2 days turned into 3 days. And then that's how it went. But I wouldn't have stayed if I didn't want to.
Yeah, of course.
And I was still with my agency back then. And they were even checking in, calling me like all the time. Being like, yo, you can leave. I was like, no, I'm having a good time because I am my own person. Like I've never gone to a booking or stayed any longer than I felt comfortable with. So it wasn't like, oh, he literally kept me there captive. Yeah. It was my choice to stay there, but we did have a lot of fun.
I was going to ask, what did you get up to for the week?
We partied.
Okay, all right.
He had a week off work.
Okay.
He had like it was October.
Right. It was fun.
Yeah, I think it was like October long weekend last year maybe, and he had like a week off work, and he's like, oh, I've got a week off work. I'm just going to book someone for a few hours, right? Well, I didn't know at the time that he had a whole week off work, but he booked me like at the start of his week off, and then I basically just moved in for that week. And then at the end, so he did tell me later that like, he did keep me around because he did just enjoy my company, but he did like me a little bit as well. He did tell me that. Yeah. And I think I started to as well after like a couple of days, and that's obviously why I also wanted to stay too. And then at the end, when I was leaving, and like he gave me the money, and then I started crying because I felt bad because I this time I liked him, and then I felt bad taking the money. Yeah, and I almost didn't want to take it, but I had to because I was with my agency back then as well. So I was torn. I was like, oh, I feel so bad taking this and it was a lot of money, like a week's worth of it's a lot of money. Yeah. And he did pay some throughout. Like it was kind of like every day he kind of paid, but I think the last 2 days we kind of just did like the last two because it was kind of clear that he had money. Yeah. And I felt really bad. So then I started crying. He's like, why are you crying? Like, take the money. And I was like, oh, but I like you. So and then he was like, oh, and then he was like, oh, like really? And then I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, like I'd like to see you like after this. I don't know, like if that's the vibe. Like I mean, I'm good at reading.
Yeah.
Well, it was obvious that we both liked each other, but so he's like, oh no, like, I want to
do you think at that point on that last day, he thought that you were kind of into him? Or did he just think like, oh fuck, I like this girl, but damn.
I did ask him later on. I was like, did you know that I liked you? And he's like, yes, but no. He's like, I kind of got a little bit of hints, but I didn't actually believe that you would actually like me. I didn't know what was acting and what was real. He's like, it did feel like it, but at the same time, I didn't know if it was because I was paying you.
Yeah, because it's kind of your job to make him feel like you like him.
So he's like,
right?
I did think it, but I didn't know if it was like is this
real or not? Yeah.
Is it real? Yeah.
And you don't want to feel like a fucking idiot being like,
exactly.
oh yeah, this girl's into me.
Yeah.
And she's like,
and
you
it's
paid me
probably,
silly.
from the guy's point of view, it would probably be offensive to be like, hey, can I see you
Yeah.
outside of work? Like, I don't think, I've never had a guy ask me that. And I feel like if I was a guy, I would feel like that would be an offensive question to ask a girl if you weren't.
Yeah.
I feel like even me, so I'll get into this story in a second. So I've kind of had things with 2 clients and I instigated both times.
Yeah.
And both times they both said that they liked me.
Yeah.
And they thought that I liked them but weren't sure.
Exactly.
So they didn't do anything. So I was the one that actually had to instigate it both times.
Yeah, of course. Because I think as the guy, like 100%, guys are so used to rejection in the, let's say, outside world. Like if you're in a club or something, they're so used to that.
Even worse, when you're paying a girl to like you, it's like, does she just like me because I'm paying her to like me?
Oh, yeah. It'd be a tough thing as a guy, I feel, to take that step to be like, okay, I want something more, or to initiate anything. Because as you said, there's such a risk of feeling stupid in that moment. So, yeah, it's a good thing that you also, like, for you also having the balls to be like, okay, fuck, I like this guy. I'm going to do something about it.
So I told him, like, pretty much straight away, like so at that time when we both established, like, yeah, okay, we're going to keep seeing each other, like outside of a work situation. And I said to him, I was like, look, like, this was like literally on that last day where I was crying, and I told him I liked him. And I was like, look, just so you know, like before we go any further with whatever is going to happen next, I'm just letting you know I'm not going to stop working. And that's a choice that
good. So you just let him know.
I let him know. I was like, I have no plans to stop working anytime soon. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm like, look, I'm not settling down. Like I was like, yeah, I'm happy to be in a relationship, but to me a relationship doesn't necessarily mean settling down. I still want to work, I still want to travel, I still want to do all these things. If you want to come with me for that ride, then you're more than welcome, but this is my income, this is my job. I don't have another job. I don't want to go back to my old job. This is my life now, and you can take it or leave it. And he was really cool about it. And why we broke up after that had nothing to do with my job. Like our relationship just didn't work out for other reasons. But all throughout that, like he used to pick me up from like work sometimes. Like we just so because I was working at my agency back then. So like I would have to go to like the agency's place. So sometimes I'd be hanging out with him, and then he would drop me off to the agency, and then I'd be working, and then he'd pick me back up later. So like he was totally cool with it. Like it's rare to find somebody that's that okay with it. But so in work side of things, totally fine. Like that, my job had interfered nothing with our relationship. He never. Occasionally, he would kind of. So in the beginning, he would kind of ask like, "Oh, how was work?" Maybe to be nice, and I said, "Look, I feel really uncomfortable with you asking me that question." And then he was like, "Oh, okay. Like, I'm sorry. I didn't know what to say." Like he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to spy on you. I just like that's something you ask a person, right?" He was doing it to be nice. Like he picked me up from work. Oh, how was work? So and I was like, look, I just don't feel comfortable me discussing my job with you. Like I'm happy to talk to you about my day or about other things, but I would rather. Because I don't like, because if I said, oh, it was a hard day at work, straight away you're going to be thinking, wow, she's had sex with X amount of guys. If I was like, yeah, I was busy. Like I was really busy. So do you know what I mean? Like the image in his mind. So I was like, I would rather we just didn't talk about it at all. Like, I'm working, but you don't know who or how many, I'd rather keep that mysterious.
Were you worried about, let's say, offending him or making him jealous or upsetting him? Is that where it came from, or did it come more from you, where you're like, I just don't want to? Well, because
he clearly didn't. I don't think he minded, because if he did, I don't think he would have asked in general, right? So I think he was just asking just generally because he was probably just interested in how my day was.
But you didn't want to talk about it.
Because in my head, the first thing I thought of is if I say it was busy or it was hard, he's going to get an image in his mind. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe that was not something that he would think about. But that's what I thought that he was going to think about. Because if the role was reversed, so if I was dating someone in the industry, I obviously know what they're getting up to. Do I want to know specifics? Probably not.
Yeah, fair.
I'd rather just know like, oh, okay, yeah, you were at work today, cool.
Okay.
That's probably, I was looking at more from what I would want to hear if I was him.
Okay, fair.
So that was mine and his relationship. And then I've had a kind of another relationship. I was seeing someone, it wasn't really dating, but I was seeing someone for a couple months. That was another client as well. So he booked me for 1 hour turned into multiple hours. And I actually met him in Queensland. So I was on tour in Queensland, and he was actually in Queensland for work as well. So we both actually lived in Sydney, but we're both in Queensland for work just for like a week. And it was kind of, I think it was like, I was already there for like maybe, 5 days. I was already in Queensland for like 5 days, and I'd made a fair bit of money by that time, and then I met him like towards the end of my tour, and I was like, oh my god, there was an instant connection, like straight away, and I was like, I want to see more of this guy. And then I found out that it was from Sydney, and I was like, there was just, the vibe was just there. And then I could tell he liked me too, and then it kind of got to I think he booked me for like, it was 1 hour that turned into like 3 hours, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. And this was really early in the morning as well. Like I think I got to his hotel room at like, it was like 6 a.m. or something. So this is early, right? Yeah. And so I don't know, it was like 9 a.m. by this time, and I was like, I'm a bit hungry, so I'm probably gonna like go and get some food. Like, I mean, I'm going anyway if you want to come. Because I didn't spend a week with this guy like I did with the other one, right? So I was like, I don't know if he's actually like, I did think he liked me, but not as sure as I was about the other one, because I wasn't with him for a week. Yeah. But I did get the vibe. So I was like, do you want to like come and like, I mean, I'm eating breakfast anyway. Yeah. Like, it's morning, like, do you want to just come? And he was like, okay. Nice. So then we ended up going for breakfast together, and then I was like, I mean, it's nice. I was just making up this. I just wanted to spend time with this guy. Yeah. And I mean, you know me personally. You know I'm a sap. I'm a little bit of a simp sometimes when it comes to guys, and I'm really like someone. And I was like, I mean, it's a nice day. Wouldn't mind just going and getting a bit of a tan at the beach. Like, and then so we ended up going for like a long walk on the beach. It's romantic. I kind of was like, I made some comment, and then so the ball was kind of, I was obviously being like, oh yeah, and then the ball was kind of in his court a little bit, and then I made some comment about Movie World, just a general thing, like it wasn't like an invitation for him. I just made some comment about Movie World, and he was like, I mean, I could take you to Movie World. Ooh, okay. And I was like, yeah, okay. And he's like, oh, why don't we go tomorrow? And I was like, I mean, yeah, okay. And at this time, I was like, you know what, this guy's just a talk shit guy, like this. Okay. Where he's not actually going to take me to Movie World. I was like, we've had this long, awesome day. He's probably thinking, oh, I got to spend a whole day with an escort for free and walk around surfers with this hot chick. That's kind of what I was thinking at this time, because I was like, there's no way he's taking me to Movie World tomorrow. Like, and then he walked me back to like my hotel, and we said goodbye. And then I was like, oh, I'm probably never going to see this guy again. And then he messaged me literally 3 seconds after I like walked into the door. I'm not even kidding. And it was like, had like such a good time. Like, I don't know. And then he was messaging me like all night, and I was like, oh, he's probably just doing this. Just I was like, I'm never gonna like. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, because we planned to go to Movie World early in the morning. I was like, I'm gonna wake up early. I'm never gonna hear from this guy again. Okay. And like, I literally woke up and already had like a message from him being like, getting ready, like good to go, blah blah blah. Nice. And then so then I was like, oh, okay, so this guy's actually like, he actually like likes me too. Yeah. And then so that's kind of how that started, and. Yeah, and so he knew, and I had the same chat with him. Like I was like, I'm not. This is my job. Like I mean, I don't before, and I have it straight away, because I don't want to. That's good. Get into something and then the job then become a problem. So I just straight up say, smart. Before we take things further, this is my job. I'm not leaving. Yeah. You can stay or up leave to you. What do you now want to do? Before things go further, and he was cool with it. Yeah. And yeah, the reason why him and I ended again had nothing to do with my job. Him and I still talk a little bit now. Like we're not seeing each other anymore, but we can still chat a little bit now. And so that happens.
Are you worried, because you mentioned something in there that he just wants to like hang out with an escort? Are you worried that some guys might see the novelty of that? Yeah, might see like, oh yeah, I just want to like hang out or have sex, or because she's an escort.
Yeah. I do definitely think that. I think that, so in both situations, I mean, a couple of my friends even asked, like when I was in both of those situations, and they did ask like, do you ever think that that's what it is, like free sex? No, because I kind of look at how that person is treating me. Like if I thought that I was just a piece of meat, I feel like you can kind of tell, like, if someone is just with you for that, I think, because a lot of the time that I was spending with these two guys, we weren't even really having sex. Like we did have sex, but it wasn't the priority. It wasn't the main part. So most of the time when I was hanging out with them, we were doing other things, like going on actual dates. Like for instance, like we went to Movie World. Like I went to Movie World with that guy. And then we ended up doing other things that day. And then other times that I seen him after that, we were doing things, and same with like my ex as well. So I didn't actually feel like, oh, okay, he's just with me for free sex. Like he doesn't have to take me places or drive me places or, you know, do things with me. So look, I could be wrong and maybe that is what they were thinking, but it really didn't feel like it because they were hanging out with me. We didn't have sex every time I seen them.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's cool. And my other question is, have you had the experience yet of meeting someone, let's say outside of that space, outside of the sex industry, and this conversation has come up where it might have been a problem or not a problem at all?
No.
Not
so
yet,
I'm really trying to avoid that. So a couple of mutual friends that are in the industry, they've had to have that conversation of, oh, so this is what I do for work. And I've never heard it going well. And that really freaks me out. Like I'm really, really trying hard to not ever have to put myself in that situation. So when I first started, I did kind of go on a couple dates with guys that I met outside of work. And then I would kind of be with them and at the back of my head, just keep thinking to myself, like, why am I wasting my time with this person that probably wouldn't accept what I do? And I know that's a me problem. Because
they didn't know at this point.
Yeah, they didn't know it. Yeah. But in my head, like, it kind of turns me off them thinking that they probably wouldn't be okay with it. So I go on like these dates and I mean, the date might be going good, but then at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I'm just wasting my time with this guy that's probably not going to be okay with what I'm doing, which is probably why I default to dating clients, because I don't have to have the talk.
Yeah.
And I explain this to a few girls when they say, why would you ever date a client? I say, well, 1, they know what I do for work. 2, you know what their cock looks like.
You've tested their sexual
3,
expertise.
you know what they're like in bed. So you know if you're sexually compatible or not.
Yeah.
4, very important one in my case, you know that they have money.
Yes.
If they have money to be dropping $1,000 an hour, they cashed up.
Yeah, that is your
another
favorite
big
personality
thing.
type.
The fifth really, really important thing is if a guy, which I know this kind of sounds bad to say, but I think it is true. So when a client is with me in an escort situation, they're very raw. They don't have to impress me. They're paying me. Mm-hmm. They can be their true selves, and guys are. They really are. When a guy wines and dines a girl on a date, they're putting on an image that is the best version of themselves. When I'm with a client, that's not their best version of themselves. It's probably the worst version of themselves. Oh. So you get to really know what a guy is like without them trying to impress you, because what the fuck do they care? They're never going to see you again. They're paying you to be there. They don't need to try. They don't even need to be nice. I mean, they need to be obviously somewhat nice, but they don't really need to be
They don't need to try to impress you.
They're not trying to impress me. So you get to really see if a guy is treating you really nice and is really kind and caring and considerate to you when they're paying you, that says a lot about them over and above than if you were just meeting a guy on Tinder and he's just trying to impress you, because you don't know any of these things. So all of these things that I've just said, like, you find out all of the really important things straight away. In the first 5 minutes, you find out all of the things that are the most important things, I think, in a relationship.
Okay.
Whereas on a first date with a guy, that's not that's not a client. You don't know those things. It might take months for you to find out those things, and you don't know if they're telling you the truth. Clients have no reason to lie to me. They tell me all sorts of things about themselves because what do they care?
It's like an open space.
It's like when you're going to see a therapist, like, you can just be yourself.
Yep.
And this person isn't going to judge you. You know all of their fantasies.
Yep.
You know the shit that they don't want anyone to know.
Yep.
You know it. You know exactly what they're like. So you learn really quickly, okay, this is really this person. This is them.
Yeah. In
their most raw and vulnerable state. So that I always say that to people when they say, like, why on earth would you date a client? I mean, it's like you know a person completely within an hour.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. I've never thought about it that way, in the sense that you can screen a little bit deeper, let's say, because they're not being so superficial or put on, right? So yeah, I get that 100%. It does make sense.
Yeah.
It does.
That's
new dating show. You just so when you are meeting, say, a new guy. So say say we go out to the club, some guy comes up to you. And
which does still happen.
He's like, hey, Kat, how you doing? He doesn't know your name, but he's like, oh my God, hey, you look so fucking beautiful. I had to come over here. And you're like, oh my God, hey, get you a drink. You guys are chatting. At what point would you tell him what you do? Because I know this is a bit of a hypothetical because you kind of been put in that
I've never
situation.
had to tell someone what I do.
I know, that's my question.
I know,
so
I know.
how long do you wait?
Is
it like,
don't know.
are you on the fucking altar?
I
are
have
you about to get
asked.
married?
I've asked a few of like our friends. Yeah, I'm like, how do you? Especially like the couple of times that I have sort of been dating a guy that didn't know, and I've said, yeah, like, do I just say it straight away? So I've gotten mixed reviews. So some have said like, yeah, it's easier to just say it straight away because then you don't waste time. Some other people have said, I like to wait a little bit more for them to get to know the real me first and then tell them. But every single person has always had it ending badly. So I've never had to, I've never had to have the talk. And honestly, I'm so avoiding it. I don't ever want to have that talk. Because how would you say that to someone?
It's interesting.
I fuck for money, especially to a guy that might not be in that scene. So
it's a tough one. I think I've got an opinion on this, right? I think most guys are closed-minded.
Yeah,
I'm going to be honest around this topic. I think most guys are closed-minded. Now, that's up to them. They can do their own thing. That's fine. But if I'm you, right, I kind of think the best time to say it is give them like the half-truth up front. And what I mean by that is that moment of seduction on like that first date, that first night when you guys are getting to know each other, that's when he's going to probably be the most open-minded or the most willing to like accept your job, let's say.
So you reckon rip the Band-Aid off?
Well, I reckon half rip the Band-Aid off slowly.
So what, say I'm like a stripper?
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, that's something you could say. You could say like, I've done some stripping, or you could say like, when you guys are talking a little bit sexual, you could mention like, I do actually a sex podcast with one of my friends. Like it's amazing. It's a lot of fun. Like let them start to know that you're open sexually. Let them know you've had multiple partners before. Like let them start seeing that side of you first, because I think they're going to be a little bit more open. What happens, and this goes for guys as well, like guys that I've had guys that might lie about their age to a girl or like, stupid shit like this. And then it gets to a point when you're like a month or two in, now it feels like you've been hiding something. Now it feels like deception, like a lie. Now it feels like there's a reason that he shouldn't be okay with it. And if I'm in that situation, I'm very open. But if someone waits too long to tell me, I kind of feel like, well, I can't trust you now. It's a bit fucked up. So if you just let them know, because it's also a little bit socially uncalibrated to be like, hi, I'm Kat, I'm an escort, right? Like it's a bit like, well, I don't need to fucking know that. It's been 2 seconds. Like the same way I wouldn't tell you something deep about my life right away.
So rip the Band-Aid off slowly.
Rip it off slowly. So I would start by telling them, like, let them know you're sexually open. Because
so
if they want like a
sex.
virgin good girl, then they know right away.
Yeah, that's
but let them know a little bit. Let them then know maybe, I've got an OnlyFans, right?
Okay.
Then maybe let them know that you're doing like escorting.
I don't know.
Like
Are
so
guys okay with OnlyFans? I feel like OnlyFans is so socially accepted now, though. Is that
it's definitely more socially accepted. But once again, it's going to depend on the guy.
Yeah.
Because I know guys that are going to be super close-minded. And even if you've
Even
been...
with OnlyFans?
I know guys...
No way.
I'm not going to say, maybe people have coached, things like that. But I know guys that if you've been with 10 guys, then you're suddenly a slut and you're not good girlfriend material.
God, only 10?
Exactly, right? Like, I know guys that, like, if you're not a virgin, it's like you're tainted and shit like that.
What
like,
guy would want a girl that is so inexperienced? Yeah, that's what I think.
Good question. And so you, especially when you go to places like Eastern Europe, right? The mindsets are a lot more deranged there. But so it depends on the guy. It really depends on the guy. But the way I think about it is, if you've got 100 guys, right? If we look at it at percentages, maybe 10% of those are going to be these, I need a virgin good girl, blah, blah. Okay, well, fuck them off, right? You can weed that out right away by just letting them know you're a little bit sexually open. Then, okay, fuck them off. Then you've got a percentage of guys that are going to be completely okay with it no matter what. Well, you don't want to wait too long with them. So this slowly Band-Aid thing's going to work. Then you got a percentage of guys that might be okay with it, might not, right? But so you slowly ease them into it. So they start to understand, okay, this is a job, there's a profession behind it, you're doing this as a part of that, you're not falling in love with all these guys, he's still important. Like, so the way I think about it is to have the most success in a potential relationship or a dynamic with these guys, I think this is the best way to go about it. So it's kind of the middle part instead of just being like, I'm an escort, or being like, I'm going to hide this from you for 2 months and then let you know when you're like in love with me or some shit, right? So I think that's kind of the balance you need to look for, if it's my opinion. Yeah, it's a tough one though.
Oh yeah, it is a tough one. And actually, like, yeah, continuing on to that, with the two guys that I was seeing, so well, they both knew, and I did say to them, this is just going on from something that we were saying before about the open relationships. I did say to both of them as well, I was like, you can fuck other girls if you want.
That's good. That's a good mindset.
I mean, I feel like, and that's when I feel like guys, they underestimate how good it can be to be with a sex worker, because I mean, if you're with a sex worker, more often than not, they're going to say, if the guy isn't a sex worker, so in both of my cases, neither of the guys were sex workers, but I said, yeah, you can fuck other girls. Because I mean, how could I say no, right?
Yeah, I think
that sounds like a good.
It's a good deal, yo.
It sounds like a good deal. I think so. Yeah.
And it goes back to the idea that everyone you're with, and I think this goes for like all of our listeners, even for people that want to get in an exclusive relationship, like let's say traditional exclusive relationship, you should still be thinking about your relationship on a spectrum. Now, obviously, we're a little bit more towards one side, which might be a little bit more open, sometimes more casual, things like that. And there might be one side where it's like, okay, we're married. You do not look at the person of the opposite sex. You do not be in the same room. Like, there is a spectrum of your relationship. And you need to discuss with your partner where you're at on that spectrum and what it looks like. Because as I mentioned, there are going to be people that have different values. And you might think it's okay to go to a club and flirt with people of the opposite sex if it's just fun and harmless. Whereas your partner might think that is cheating. And so, yes, you guys are exclusive, but what does that exclusivity mean? Are you exclusive flirters? Are you allowed to flirt with anyone else? Are you exclusive conversationalists? Are you allowed to talk to people of the opposite sex? Can you message them? What does that actually look like? And I think that conversation is important regardless of what your views are where you're on that spectrum.
Yeah, awesome.
Happy days.
Yeah, I hope that was educational. I did have a couple other questions kind of on that, but I think I might save those for another day. Okay. I didn't know if we would talk so deeply about that, but we did, which was great. Got deep, yeah, we did. It was great. So yeah, I feel like I might leave the other two. Okay. So next up, Vibrator review. So Vibrator I had fun.
Tell me about it.
So everybody watching. So Mark gave me this last week.
The womanizer.
Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The womanizer. What brand is it? Is there? Oh,
that's
that is
the brand. Yeah. Okay. Womanizer. I forget what series this is. It might be like 2.0 or some shit, but womanizer. That's the vibrator.
So I have actually never. I have used a vibrator once during sex. Like, it was me and a guy, and then he brought out a vibrator and like put on my clit while it was like fucking me. I've never used one on my own. I actually don't own a vibrator. I have a dildo, but I hardly ever use it. These hands.
I feel so sad.
These hands are magic. No, don't feel sad. Okay. Don't feel sad.
I didn't know you had magical hands.
I'm blessed.
Okay,
I am blessed with these hands.
Perfect.
Yeah, my hands are fucking magic, man. I don't need anything else. Yeah, my hands do the job.
That's fair.
I don't need any toys. I'm telling you, my hands. These are toys.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So I mean, I've never needed one because I mean, my hands are literally just, and I am not converted. I still think that my hands do a better job. But I mean, it was fun. Fair. It did get me off, but I feel like it. Okay, so I don't exactly know how to explain this, but I feel like there was something about the third party intermediary aspect of the vibrator that hindered my masturbation experience. Okay. I know that sounds a bit fucked up because I mean, when I'm having sex, obviously the dick is like a third party, right? Okay. But I feel like it just distracted me a little bit. Like, I feel like I get more, I don't know, I don't want to say I become one with myself when I'm like using my hands, but I feel like there is an element of being a little bit more in tune with my body and what I'm doing when I can kind of feel it, and it's kind of like it's all, you know, I'm getting all of the senses. I feel like it was distracting having the object that was interfering with that. Yeah. So that's my take on this. But I know other girls, they love their toys, and I know you love your toys. I felt like it really hindered my experience. I like the connecting with myself. I don't know how else to explain it, but that is the best way that I
What
can
was the
explain
sensation like?
I mean, it did kind of feel a little bit like when I would rub it myself, but I just found it distracting that it was not me doing it.
Fair.
It's really hard to describe it. It was distracting, it being an object. I kind of felt like it was an object that was there, that it was like, it felt like, you know, when a fly comes on your leg and you try to like shoo it off.
You're like, what is this thing?
I was just like, it kind of felt like a sensation that like shouldn't, because I don't know, maybe it's because I wasn't doing it myself. It felt like it was like, I was like, I can feel this sensation.
That's
Get
interesting.
off.
No, it's what I call like pleasure habits, right? So we all have these, and you know, guys have it too. In the same sense that you have been self-pleasuring yourself in a very similar way, let's say, for almost your whole life. So it's something you're so accustomed to and used to. And that's what you mean by in tune, right? You know exactly how to do it. You've practiced, you know what feels good, you know where you're at. And it's the same with guys. Like when guys jerk off, like that's sometimes why they struggle to either come with a girl or they come super fast with a girl, because it's what they're so used to when they're masturbating, these certain habits that they build. And even when it comes to, that's why I say exploring kink, everyone should try everything multiple times, not once. Because when it comes to, one thing that I love is like inflicting pain. And so almost every girl that I meet is not immediately going to be like, I love pain, like let's do it. It has to be something that's like built up. So I'm not surprised that trying the vibrator for the first time, you're like, this feels weird. Like what the fuck is going on here? It's not what I'm used to, and it's not what I'm good at. It's not what I really like. But in terms of this vibrator, I'll give you like my opinion of it, right?
Mark's specs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan.
Would you use it on a girl or do you use it on yourself?
No. This is just for a girl.
Okay.
Just for a girl. So I'm not the biggest fan in the sense of you can't use this while you're fucking, because this relies on suction. So for those that are watching on YouTube, this needs, essentially for those listening, there's like a circular rubber piece that needs to have like contact over the clit to be able to like create that suction, and it like sucks in and vibrates. So if this is off the skin a little bit, it just stops, right? It literally, the vibrator just stops, it turns off. And so if you try to hold this in the exact right position and try fuck the girl, it's not possible, right? You're just moving around too much. So there's other vibrators that are great for that, but this vibrator, the womanizer, is meant and used just for like, let's say singular use or self-pleasure. And a lot of girls tend to love it, right? So a lot of girls tend to really enjoy this because they describe the sensation as more related to like getting your pussy eaten out as opposed to just like a wand on your clit getting vibrated. So I know a girl, I met her in Miami, hated this thing actually. She's like, it's shit. She's like, I prefer the strong like wand vibrator. So everyone's gonna have their own opinions on this. But if you're at home, and you haven't tried this out and you want to try, go for it.
I do think it actually went quite strong because I put it like up high at first and then I was like,
too much. Back a little bit back.
I'm very sensitive. Yeah. So, well, I don't know, anyone listening who's had me in the bedroom will know I'm very
sensitive. Okay, so the good thing about this is it's got like 21 settings or some shit.
Yeah, so I was like way low.
You can start off slow and really build this up. But I have some women, actually, you know one of them, we can talk about it off camera, that is in love with this thing.
Really?
Like, I'm pretty sure she's getting married to this object at some point. Like, in love with it. She thinks this is the greatest thing in the world. So
specifically this one?
Yeah, the womanizer.
Okay.
There's a few different brands that have this suction.
But it has to be this one.
But this one is the best from what I've heard. The womanizer is the best in terms of the suction. But yeah, try it out. It's not good. If you're a guy at home, there's no point in really buying one of these. We can talk in future weeks about really good vibrators to use while you're fucking, to use with your partner. This is more if you're a guy and you're sitting at home and prefer to watch the football, then you can hand this over to your girl. That might be the solution. This is the football vibrator.
Yeah,
so
men take note when you your girl
when you need
alone for a little bit. We need some alone time.
When you need some alone time, this is a good one to have around, right? It's a good one to have around.
All right. Up next is Cat's facts. Is that
Yes, sex fact of the week.
Yes.
Cat's fact. Cat fact. Cat fact. Yeah, I like it.
That one. Yeah. So my sex fact, which I thought was quite interesting actually, because I tried to think about this, and I'm
legit excited for this, by the way. I don't know what it is yet.
It's not as juicy as last week, but this is more of a thought pondering one. Like it'll make you go, oh,
okay.
10% of dreams are sexual.
Damn.
So I would like to just throw in a disclaimer here. This is a fact as well. You actually do dream every single night. You just don't remember every single dream. I've heard that, you pretty much forget them straight away, right? Yeah. So there are dreams that you have that you don't know you're having. Damn. And apparently 10% of those are sexual.
I would have thought it was more.
What? No way, really?
I would have thought it was more.
I read that and was like, there's no way that 1 in 10 of my dreams are sexual. There's no way.
Damn, okay, maybe I'm a very sexual dreamer.
1000% you must be.
Maybe that's what it is.
Because I would say...
What is your last sex dream?
I reckon that I probably have a few a year, of the ones I can remember.
Really?
A few a year only.
Wow.
Like I would say I can probably count on one hand in the year the amount that are sexual.
This probably explains... So you probably have like 1%, I probably have 90%.
But that's all time. Like
out.
I would say all time, I don't really have that many, but that's the ones that I can remember,
that's
right?
Crazy.
Maybe you just remember your sexual ones more than I do.
Maybe I'm like more attuned to my sexual
I had a
dreams.
lot more when I was younger as well, from what I can remember. I remember having a lot of sexual-ish dreams before I had lost my virginity. So I was clearly thinking about it probably a lot more back then, and I think that made my mind a little bit more sexually stimulated. Whereas I feel like getting on in my life and I have a little bit more sex, I probably think about sex less.
That's a good theory. Maybe.
That's what I think, because I definitely do remember having much more when being younger and getting really excited about it because I was a virgin or I hadn't kissed a boy before, and I would do it in my dream and I would get so excited and I'd tell my friends about it because I was like, oh my God, like it felt so real, and like I was like, whoa, like that's cool, like that's what we got to look forward to. But yeah, like much less so now. Usually when I do kind of have one now, it might be with like a guy that I might be seeing a guy, or maybe I like someone, and then he kind of appears in my dream. Okay.
You're like thinking of him.
Yeah, so it's usually someone that I'm thinking about towards my later life when it is sexual. It's usually someone that I might have a bit of a crush on. Maybe it's a guy I'm seeing, or even if I'm not seeing, maybe a guy I want to be seeing, or a guy that I've been on a date with. And and then I think obviously I'm thinking about him sexually. So then that's when he might get into my dreams. He jumps in your dreams,
he just gets in there.
Yeah, so that's me. I'm curious to know. So how many of your dreams would you say?
I literally had a conversation with a girl this morning about a sexual dream I had last night.
And I'm guessing she was in it.
Yeah, because she messaged me and I'm like, yo, that's so weird. Like I had this dream, and some sexual dreams, it's like you are fucking there, right? It's like I feel it so intensely. It's like I am there, and some are a bit more
having intercourse in these dreams?
They're all different, right?
Okay, so
some could be like sexual. This dream, yes. We were fucking in Bali in a treehouse.
That sounds hot.
Yeah, it was fucking great. But sometimes it could just be me like tying up a girl or spanking her, or maybe it could just be us like being flirtatious with each other. So, and as you said, like some dreams I'm like, I'm pretty sure I had a fucking weird sex dream with this girl. And other times it's like fucking explicit, like I'm there. It's creepy. It's like I am right there experiencing it. And then you wake up, you're like, what the fuck just happened? So it's, but I have sex dreams a lot, actually.
And who are the people? So like with me, I was saying like when I was younger, it was just anyone. Yeah. It was just random people. It was even just random kids that just went to my school that were in my grade. But as I got older, it was guys that I was maybe involved with. So I'm curious to know, are these girls you're involved with? Are they randoms? Are they celebrities?
Yeah. No, never celebrities, actually. It's always either girls I know, girls I've been with, or it's like the energy of a girl that I know, if that makes sense. Because sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I don't know who I was fucking, but they felt like this person. As in, like, does this make sense?
Their pussy was
no
20 millimeters in diameter, and that's her.
That's
her. Let me get my book.
Yeah,
my book. And that's her. 21 millimeters. That's her. So it wasn't that. It's not
not physical sense. As in, like, her submissive energy, or like she was very
the way she was grabbing, maybe.
Exactly, yeah. It was that sense. So yeah, okay, 10%. That's interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. I was like,
That
wow.
is, I like that.
And
That's
it's
a good
weird that
sex
we
fact.
dream sexually differently.
Yeah, exactly.
Very interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
No, I like that. Everyone share your sex dreams with us. I want to know what they are.
Yeah,
Write
yeah,
them in the comments. Get our
Yeah,
channel
right.
down.
Yeah,
So let's hear 'em.
Where can the YouTube comments? Is that you can comment?
Sure.
On YouTube? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Tell us
Sure.
on YouTube. Yeah, what's your craziest
Yeah,
sex
I
dream?
want to hear all your sex dreams. I've written some down actually. Maybe I'll share one with you later.
Yeah. Okay.
It's,
So, task for next week, we're gonna hear one of Mark's sex dreams.
Damn. Okay.
I can't
All
wait.
right. Fun times. Let's do it.
All right. Well, yeah. Like, our last thing for the week is a question from the audience. So, what do we have today?
Yes.
Mark?
Yeah. So we have from Jacob. So he asked a question. The reason I picked this is because I think this is the question that every fucking guy wants to know and ask, which is what we were talking about earlier, which is around ED. So
Oh my God.
erectile dysfunction, not being able to get hard or having difficulty getting hard during sex.
I have a lot of thoughts about this.
Tell me.
Let me just tell you my thoughts first,
Please.
and then I would like to hear the male, more scientific answer.
Please.
So me as an escort, I have sex with a lot of guys, and I have sex with a lot of guys who can't get it up or who have issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's not me. I'm not the problem. I know for a fact.
Look at me, bitch. It's not me.
It's not me.
Yeah.
It's not me. I'm magic. It's not me.
Look, these hands are magical.
This mouth, these hands, everything. It's not me. It
Yeah.
isn't. And I think that there are so many. I would say close to 50% of guys. Well, okay, that's probably a bit of an exaggeration, but it's a lot. It's a lot of guys have some issue. Either they can't come, or they can't get it up, or they can get it up, but it flops in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that so many guys have undiagnosed ED because it is so common. I see it happen like a lot, and I'm like, how do so many guys not have dicks that that have dicks that don't work? Like, should they be getting treatment? Is this like a undiagnosed ED epidemic, or am I just being a bitch here?
No, this is. I'm so glad you brought this up because it's hilarious what I was about to talk about. So, the thing is something I want to say, which is ED, or let's not call it ED. Not getting hard is incredibly common and incredibly normal.
Is that ED?
So ED, I would look at as more of a diagnosis. So I don't want people to walk around and say, I've got ED because you're going to get hard a couple of times. No, you couldn't get hard a couple of times. You don't have ED. No. But there's surveys. If you actually ask guys, do you have ED? 50%. That's why it's very interesting you said half the guys. 50% of guys will say they have ED. Now,
it is.
yeah, you're like, yes,
I think
my stats equate to
yeah,
this. Now,
it's a lot.
yeah, there's a lot of guys, and it's incredibly normal. Now, I'm going to talk about some things we can do about it, right? But I think the first thing is understanding, like, why do you think the guys aren't able to get hard when you're with them?
I do think that, so sometimes it's obvious reasons. They've been partying.
Yeah.
That's a really obvious one because
So like Coke, alcohol.
Anything.
Yeah.
Even they've been up all night. Like,
Yeah.
and that's an obvious one because I know even in past relationships that I've been in, where the guy, has no issues getting it up. I know from just personal experience with guys I've dated that, if it's been a long night or you've been drinking a bit or you haven't slept much, you tend to have some issues. So I always know, like, if I know a client has been partying, I'm like, okay, that's what it is. Then there's another reason, which sometimes guys are very noticeably nervous, like whether it be because I'm an escort or because of how I look or whatever. So, or it might be their first time. So there are guys that are very, very noticeably nervous, and you can tell, like, they're like almost shaking. Some of these guys, like, So, and then I think, okay, they're probably in their head about whatever it is that's probably making them, like that. I would say they're probably the top two, and then you've just got the ones that shouldn't, like, well, to me it doesn't seem like there's a reason.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think when you look at the times that you're not getting hard and how to improve it, is the first thing I want to look at is your health, right? Make sure you're good cardiovascular health, that you're working out, that you're a good weight, that you're eating healthy, like all these basic things.
Because it is blood flow.
Yeah, it's
right?
blood flow,
So
100%. So you want to have a good heart. Now, the other thing is, drugs and alcohol, being tired and up all night, these are things that are going to have a huge impact. So if you're like having a few drinks, you've had a few lines or whatever, you haven't slept, you're going to find it very difficult to get hard. But then I want to talk about, which is most of the times, which is these psychological factors, which are the things playing in your mind. Now, look, there are times where you might want to get ED ruled out by a doctor. But if you're a young guy and you're just in your head, then don't worry about it. This is more if you're trying to masturbate and you can't get hard. Usually you get hard during the night or when you wake up. If that's not happening at all, like if you're actually very worried about this, see a doctor. But otherwise, it's just in your head. That's all it is.
Like the nerves?
The nerves, that's it. You're
and
just
I guess
in
if
your
it
head.
doesn't happen once, like, I mean, if you can't get it up once, you're going to be thinking the next time, oh my God, what if it does, what if it like, what if it happens again? And then all you're thinking about is, oh my, and I do actually notice it with clients, like they, you know, everything will be really good in the beginning and then they'll get hard. And then it's when they don't get, like when they lose it the first time, it's like, that's it.
Fucked.
It's like that's almost like it's it.
Yeah, 100%. So what you need to do, the first thing is what I want guys to do is reassociate that nervousness that you have. So you mentioned some guys look visibly nervous. They might be like trembling a little bit. That feeling, I want you all to not think about as nerves anymore. It's excitement, right? That's how the first when you see it. When that girl comes over and your heart's beating a little bit, get happy about that. Be like, I'm not nervous. I'm fucking excited. I've got this hot girl in my bed. Of course I'm excited. It's going to be so much fucking fun. This is great. So like reframe nervousness to excitement.
And I mean, just if they're there, I mean, this girl, I mean, you're getting lucky. If like this girl, well, okay, I don't want to assume.
You're both getting lucky.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, a lot of the time, you got a girl that's coming over. That it's almost like, you know, you don't need to be scared because this girl she wants to be there, right?
Exactly. She's there because she wants to have sex with you, right? So there's nothing to be that, let's say, like nervous about is the first thing. Now, the next thing is just realize that you can give this girl an amazing experience, even if you don't get hard, right? Now, it's really great that we spoke about in the start of this podcast about your lesbian experience, at least girl-on-girl experience, because as you said, she's amazing at going down, right? She's amazing at giving head. If you actually look at girls that are into girls, whether that's bi, lesbian, they will always describe their girl-on-girl experiences as better than their guy-on-guy experiences. And so one thing I tell guys is, guess what? Those lesbians, they don't have a dick, right? They're not getting hard, right? They have permanent ED and they're still having these incredible experiences. So this really helps you from a mindset point of view. Take the focus off penetration for a second. Think about how else can I give this girl a fucking incredible experience? Lay down, give her a massage first. Roll her over, tie her up if that's what she's into. Figure out what her fantasies are. Like maybe she likes to be called certain things or spoken to a certain way. Like focus on everything else. Yeah, sorry, Kat.
You know what? It's really interesting that you are saying this because I actually would just like to have a quick story. So I had this one client that owned it, that he had like issues getting it up. He was very well, like he came in confident as fuck and was just like, yeah, okay. Like he almost said it in the first like 5 minutes, like, yeah, like we're not having sex. And I was like,
love it.
Okay. And he's like, yeah, like I've been partying, like just not happening.
Yep.
But like I'm about to rock your world. And I was like, the fuck? I was like, okay. I had one of the best fucking nights.
Yep.
We didn't even have sex. He was probably the best eater-outerer.
Oh my God, eater-outerer.
He came with a bag full of toys. I know you're going to love it. He came with a backpack full of toys. He had strap-on. He had vibrators. He had like he had all of these things. Like there was any sex toy you can think of. He had it in this backpack.
Yep.
And we had the best sexual experience and we didn't even have sex.
Yeah. He fucked like
and
a
he
lesbian.
fucking owned it. And I thought that was so hot.
Yeah.
I was like, and this guy was not, when he first looked in, he wasn't attractive. He was like quite overweight. He had a pretty small dick like as well. So like it was not off the bat. He was not like I guess normally attractive guy.
I get what you're saying.
But oh my God, like he was like, I was so turned on by it. Just him walking in being like, I'm going to rock your fucking world by not fucking you. And I was like, the fuck?
That confidence.
Yeah, and he was like owning the fact that he had like a small dick that didn't work. He fucking owned it. And I thought that was so hot.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is fun. Like all of a sudden, I didn't even think about his dick. Yeah. Like it was literally not in the equation. We had a great time.
There you go.
I ended up seeing him he ended up booking me a few times after that. Never had sex one of those times. Had the best like non-sex experiences ever.
That is perfect.
Yeah,
like
good
I
example,
want guys to hear this and like really internalize that. Like, and look, same stories with me. I've fucked a lot of girls, and if I was to ask them, and I do, what was their favorite part? What do they like about it? It is rarely them being like, oh, I really loved when you were penetrating me.
When your dick was inside.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes girls really like that and like, oh, you fucked me so hard, it was great. But a lot of times it's going to be around that sexual context. They're like, I've never had someone do XYZ, right? It could be something simple. I've never had a guy use a vibrator while he was fucking me. I've never had a guy call me all those names. I've never had a guy tie me up. So that's what you can give them, that unique experience. So that's good to have in the back of your head. Now, I don't want you to go into every encounter just being like, okay, I'm not going to get hard, but it's good to know you can have a really good experience without it. So that's like number one, is just know that. Now, the actual practical tips that I want to give guys is just take a fucking breath, right? When you're feeling that nervous or you're in your head, just take a breath.
Yeah,
right?
Go down on her for a little bit.
Exactly.
Just like think about something else. Just be like, you know what? All right, it's a bit shaky. Yeah. Let's flip her over. I'll eat her out for a bit, and then I'll be thinking about what I'm doing rather than what else is going on.
Yeah. So go back to pleasure. Like think about what about this girl is turning me on, right? So exactly as you said, if you're eating her out and she's moaning, focus on that moan. Focus on how sexy that sounds. If you have her turned over and maybe you're massaging her back and you love her booty, then appreciate it, right? Tell her how fucking great her ass looks right now. So get away from like this planning and this anxiety and this, put the focus just back to pleasure for a second. So take a few breaths, right? Focus on the pleasure. And as you mentioned, like if you just can't get hard, own it, right?
Yeah, it was hot that he owned it. I thought that was so hot. I was like, oh my God, yes.
That's I love this guy's line.
And he came prepared. Like he knew. It's like he rocked up. He's like, yeah, we're not fucking tonight, but it's right. I'm going to come in. I'm going to give you like the fucking best night ever. And I was like, whoa, okay.
Perfect.
I'm into that. Like, yeah, I'm all about this. And it was great. And we didn't have sex once.
Yeah. And the thing is, most guys are going to either get butthurt, right? They're going to blame the girl. Or, what happens most time is the girl thinks it's their fault, right? Now, I know you don't, right? You're like, listen, I'm a fucking weapon, yo. But a lot of girls are going to think like, am I not good enough? And if you're the girl listening to this, it's got nothing to fucking do with you. Most of the time, if you're more attractive and if the guy's more into you, then it's going to be more pressure and he's less likely to get hard, right? So never fucking blame yourself. Like that's the other thing you don't want to worry about. And also, if you're the girl, don't put more pressure on, right? Like I've spoken to girls that are like, what the fuck? Like, why can't you get hard? Look, you say that, this guy's never fucking getting hard. You also need to realize that you can have a great sexual experience from this guy if he doesn't get hard. So if you're the dude, take a second, take a breath, focus on the pleasure a little bit, focus on what you like about her. Sometimes you might just want to lay there and cuddle with her and just take a break. Right? Just take a break and try again later.
Girls do like that as well.
Exactly.
Like girls do like the, intimate. We like a little bit of spooning or a little bit of just kissing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the last tip, this is something that I think is helpful. If it is pressure based, if you're like, fuck, like, I'm worried this girl thinks I don't know what I'm doing, or maybe you have like body image issues, anything like that, just blindfold the girl. Right? Like this is my little tip. If she's down, if she's into it,
take away her senses.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I'm being serious here, right? Like something that can really help you. If the girl's into this,
I fucking
put
love
a blindfold over her, right? Because now, look,
take her senses away one by one.
Yeah.
Blindfold her. Then you know what? That doesn't work. Then tie her hands up.
Yeah,
tie her feet up.
Yeah, put a gag in. No, but really, like if I've spoken to the girls about this before. Because I've been so curious, like similar to the dream, I was like, when I blindfold you, what do you think I'm doing? What do you think I look like? And these girls imitate. They're walking around the room with a strut. They've got my cane like hitting it on their hand. And I'm like, bitch, I'm just standing there like chilling out. I'm just like grabbing a condom and fumbling around. But you take away that sense of sight and suddenly all the pressure will go away, right? Because the girl's not looking at your dick being like, why isn't it hard, right? What's going on? So you take that away, you can be more chill. That's where you can take a breath, focus on pleasure a little bit. Maybe you can encourage her to help you out, to get hard. But otherwise, guys, fuck like a lesbian, right? Simple as that. Listen to Kat's story over here. Get some toys out.
Get a backpack with toys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
on the go.
Get some fucking rope. Yeah. Let's go. So yeah, that's the key. I want everyone fucking like that girl this morning.
Oh, yeah. So I think that kind of wraps us up for today. Hope you all enjoyed that podcast. I
That was fun. Yeah, that was fun.
I enjoyed talking about that. So just some closing remarks. We are now on TikTok and on Reels. So there's a lot of bonus questions with us that you don't hear on air. So yeah, a lot of bonus questions with us. There's some behind the scenes footage. Yeah, if you want to see more of us, there's plenty of it on TikTok. So it was actually really fun trying to teach Mark how to make TikToks. It did take about 17 hours.
Jesus Christ. You know, TikTok is not my forte.
I would go and watch our TikToks just to see Mark's terrible acting.
Fair call.
It was funny, but we do have a lot of bonus like behind the scenes stuff, some like more questions from the audience that we tried to answer, and also some other behind the scenes footage that I secretly recorded of me trying to teach Mark to make TikToks.
All right, that is not going to be on there. You will not be able to find that.
It will be.
Good luck.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we'll chat to you all next week.
See you next week, guys. Bye bye.